right. Good evening. It is Tuesday, March 24th, 6 p.m., and I call this meeting of the North Brookfield Board of Selectmen to order. If you'll all rise and salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so our meeting is starting a little different tonight than usual because we have a public hearing posted for 6 p.m. and that is for the CDBG application. And who's here for that? Okay. What's your name again?
Shannon Sullivan. I'm from Central Mass Regional Planning Commission.
All right, Shannon Sullivan, thank you.
Okay, he's right here, okay?
I think so. I think they can hear you everywhere.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name's Shannon Sullivan. I'm a Community Development Planner at the Central Mass Regional Planning Commission, or CMRPC. We are the state-designated regional planning agency for North Brookfield. If you haven't signed in yet, you can please sign in at the sign-in sheet right over there. The purpose of this public hearing tonight is for a presentation and discussion of the fiscal year 2026 Community Development Block Grant application, where a Board of Selectmen vote is required to authorize the submission of the application by CMRPC on the town's behalf. The handout located over near the sign-in sheet is also available to reference the presentation. CDBG, or Community Development Block Grant, was enacted in 1974 by President Gerald Ford, and it's federal funding which comes through the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD. There are approximately 11 entitlement communities in the state which are granted large federal funding automatically based on their populations. So places like Boston and Springfield and Worcester. Small communities like North Brookfield, known as non-entitlement communities, follow a competitive process in which not all communities are given CDBG funding. So projects under CDBG must meet 3 national objectives. The first, benefiting low to moderate income populations, which is verified by income survey, a qualification process, and/or census data. Elderly and disabled persons are generally considered to meet that low to moderate income criteria. The second national objective is to remove or prevent slums and blight on an area basis, which is verified through an inventory and report, or for a single property, a spot designation. And lastly, a response to a community development or urgent need by special request only, which is very rare. Eligible project types can include infrastructure like roads, sidewalks, sewer, water and drainage, ADA-related improvements like elevators, sidewalks, access and ramps, public facility improvements such as senior centers and public housing, but that's not for general use municipal buildings such as town hall or DPW garages, housing rehabilitation, parks and recreation, planning, design and improvements for parks and playgrounds, environmental remediation like a brownfield assessment, planning, architectural and engineering designs, and social services like literacy and domestic violence prevention. There's no municipal financial outlay required to apply for funding to manage projects, and there's no local match required. The state assigns a community needs score to each entitlement community that affects the competitiveness of each community's application. North Brookfield's needs score is a 9 out of 10 in the fiscal year 2026 program, which reflects a high need. So the proposed project for the fiscal year 2026 application is the South Common Street and St. Clair Avenue Improvements Project, which may include the design and construction of surface and subsurface public works infrastructure improvements within the existing public right-of-way on South Common Street and St. Clair Avenue. The preliminary budget presented tonight is not yet finalized, but it will be in the ballpark of what is presented. First, there is a maximum amount of $950,000 that the town can apply for, meaning that the budget will not exceed that amount. So first, this includes design and construction activities, which is going to be approximately $810,000 to $820,000, including the design and construction of the subsurface and surface public works improvements. In addition, the preliminary budget for grant administration and program delivery is approximately $130,000 to $140,000, which includes overall grant management, like technical administrative support, committee development and support, travel, advertising, training and education, contractor management, etc. The total budget is to not exceed $950,000, as that's the maximum the town can apply for, like I said earlier. This project was identified in the town's East Side Neighborhood Infrastructure Study, funded by a previous CDBG grant back in 2014, It was recommended due to the existing conditions, location, available funds, and projected costs. Meetings and communications with town public works officials have taken place to develop scoping and project phasing. In addition, to date, community outreach has included various website postings, neighborhood outreach, including a resident input letter mailed a few weeks ago, this advertised public hearing tonight, and an upcoming resident meeting being held Wednesday, April 1st at 6 p.m. at the Senior Center, and we encourage residents to attend that. This year's application is due on Tuesday, April 21st, about a month from now. Awards are typically announced in either the summer or the fall. From here, I can answer any questions, and I request for the recommended motion as stated on the bottom of this page. Thank you.
Thank you. Good job.
Thank you.
Jamie or Ralph, you got any questions? Right. So I'm going to ask if anybody has questions out in the audience. Questions need to be asked through the chair, so there's no back and forth, you know. It's going to be a little difficult sometimes, but go ahead, Pete.
Why was that area targeted for improvement?
So as I had said, it was originally prioritized in an infrastructure study for the East Side neighborhood that was funded through a 2014 CDBG grant. That study identified improvements for subsurface infrastructure like water and sewer, as well as surface such as streets and sidewalks. This project was prioritized in that study, and then the recent community engagement efforts that we've done, this project was also prioritized through that. So that's where the project came from.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
John.
Just for more information for the townspeople, a few years ago, we had a drainage issue with subsurface drainage, and some of the houses on St. Clair Ave, their sewer was not going in the proper locations. That's kind of what put this thing on the upscale, as far as I know. They ran the cameras up those pipes and they're bad. So that's what the subsurface, I think, that you guys thought. People don't know what that stuff is, but I was there when we had the cameras up. And the subsurface that's going to be taken care of there is the water and the sewer and probably the storm drain culvert pipes and everything, because it's all intertwined up in that area. And the new sidewalks next to the park and all that will be good for the senior center, because it's right there, so it's get to the park, the playground, and everything. So it is a good idea to do that. The other side, more common street, a couple of years ago, all the way up, sidewalk, parking area over there. So that's all part of this side of the playground. So it is a good deal.
Does anybody have any questions?
Is there a scope or a drawing of the area and exactly what the infrastructure upgrade is going to be? Do you have that somewhere?
Not yet. We are still in the process of phasing and scoping the project, so we'll submit that with the application. If it's awarded, we will have that. And in the coming months, there will be a resident meeting where we would go over all of that with the project design. So we don't have that quite yet.
Excuse me, I'm Andrew Lowe, also with the Central Mass Regional Planning Commission. So this application is for the design of the project. So we have a planning study from a few years ago that highlighted some of the need for the project, but it hasn't, the specific improvements have not yet been designed. So this grant will include design and as much construction of the improvements as can be afforded within the grant budget. So as Shannon says, the specific improvements, there will be public engagement with the folks who live in that area as part of that design process, just to make sure folks are aware of what's going on, and they may have concerns that engineers don't yet know about that can help with the design process. So that will be forthcoming if and when the grant is funded.
Thank you. Yes.
Just real quick, because I like numbers. So your number's not to exceed $950,000 in the preliminary approximate budget to design is 820, so that leaves 130 for the actual work to be, the work that's to be designed, to be taken care of and handled within.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Shannon, but the 820,000 includes design and as much construction.
Correct.
Okay.
Done, so
Yeah.
most of that will be construction.
That's
And then
not how it reads out.
The remainder there
Just want to be clear.
is for project management and grant
Correct.
compliance and that sort of thing.
So the project oversight completely handled by CMRPC? Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
nothing required from the town?
Well, it is a town grant, it would be a town project, but we will do all the legwork for the town, so we'll help, get it through environmental review, we'll put materials together to
Okay,
hire
an
an
engineer
engineer.
sign off of
Yeah,
invoices?
well, the town will have an engineer under contract, we will help with the procurement of that engineer, but same thing with the construction contractor, it will be a town contractor, but we will help, and the engineer will help with procurement of that contractor. So we'll essentially be the town's project manager for this, but again, with the town having opportunities to be involved and to have oversight and to approve everything.
Understood.
Along the way.
So you've got the headaches and we got
That's
set.
what we're here for.
I like that.
Less than 50 turns out to be now, or the 820.
Right.
All right. Anybody else have any questions? All right. Is there a motion?
Yeah. I will make a motion to support and approve the submission of the FY26 CDBG application, including the activity as presented today, with allowance for minor budget or program adjustments, and to authorize the chair and CFO to sign all documents required for the application.
Second.
All right. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I got a question. With allowance for minor budget and program adjustments, the minor budget adjustments, I'm assuming, so the cap is not to exceed 950, right? So are we, if it exceeds 950, does that put the town on the
No.
hook for the,
No, so the
Okay.
budget won't exceed 950,000. We're currently phasing and scoping the project to ensure it will not exceed 950,000.
okay, okay.
But, so this application is for design of the full project, and if the construction of everything can fit within this, we'll budget for that. It may end up being a two-phase project, depending on what budget comes. As everybody knows, these things have gotten much more expensive the last 5-10 years. But we will make sure that the construction part of it is budgeted with a contingency so that it doesn't go over. And if it is phased, we can try to make the phases organized in such a way that you're not going to be biting off more than you can chew with each grant for it. So,
Okay, and then
safeguards built in there.
And I guess the last question. All right. This is not a reimbursement type grant, correct?
No.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
All right. Ralph, you got anything?
No,
All right.
Jamie asked my question.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, minutes. So we got to do these two different groups. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of 2/19/2026 and 3/3/2026 executive session.
So moved.
I'll second that. Ralph, you weren't here for those?
Correct.
Any discussion?
No.
Right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I will entertain a motion for the regular meeting and executive session meeting of 3/10/2026.
So moved.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. I will entertain a motion to approve payroll warrant number 19 for $355,192.42. School warrant number 1076 for $126,131.43. The fire highway warrant for 1077 for $115,779.25. Debt and interest warrant number 1078 for $6,364,800. General fund warrant number 1079 for $165,951.65. Wastewater treatment plant upgrade number 1080 for $211,670. And general fund postage 1081 for $1,038.06.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. We don't have financial items, old business. Mr. Tripp, you want to give us a rundown on your notes here?
So on the old business, is that how it works? That's how it used to work, but still.
Well, yeah.
Okay, that's old. You guys got my letter, or our letter, from the committee. You want to read it?
I don't know if I could.
You didn't read it?
Oh, we did read it, yeah.
I would. Well, you know I don't type things out, so I'll read it. We had a meeting. The Memorial Park Committee was formed with myself, Ernie Grimes, and Jessica Fogo. And we organized the board that first night at the open meeting at the senior center. And we wrote this, I'll read the shorter version first. Under the auspice of the Board of Selectmen, this committee was formed as the North Brookfield Memorial Park Committee. Our first thing on our list is to name the park in the center of town, the North Brookfield Memorial Park. We are here to do just that. The Board of Selectmen can officially name the park with our recommendation to do so. At the meeting that we had discussed a month and a half, 2 months ago, you guys wanted a committee to help name the park, so that's what we did. And I know Mr. Caldwell was here, and he said that you guys could officially name the park the Memorial Park. So that's the first part of the letter of the meeting. The second one's a little bit longer. It's kind of our mission statement that we came up with. In the early 1900s, the property described as 188 North Main Street became town property. And since then, it was a nice place to sit on a few benches or sit on the ground to reflect on the downtown area. Years passed, the downtown stayed the same for the most part. In 2019, a new electronic signboard was installed and electricity was brought to a new panel board for distribution. In early 2020, as a member of the Select Board, I was given the opportunity to rebuild the park area. After many hours of working with friends and volunteers, a plan and drawing was made. I became the leader of a great number of volunteers with many talents and their own set of skills. Began the work of the renovation. Donations were coming in rapidly, along with hours of manual labor from the volunteers. Almost all the park was created with donations. Some tractor work and truck hauling of dirt and materials was done by our highway department as needed. The park was created in about 8 months. Memorial tables and benches were purchased by members of families and locals. The North Brookfield Memorial Park Committee intends to protect and maintain the park as it was built as a memorial park. It is now the centerpiece for travelers to gaze upon as they come to town. For the first 2 years, the park and its many flower beds, walkways, and lawn were funded and maintained with donations of volunteers, and volunteers performed the work. As a committee, we would ask the Board of Selectmen to come up with some town funds and a line item in the budget for this year and years to come. We can get volunteers to do the work. Thank you, the North Brookfield Memorial Park Committee. So in a nutshell, we're going to take care of the park with volunteers. I have equipment I can mow, and I can get people to plant, maintain the flowers, the walkways, and whatnot. And like I said, My wife and I pretty much funded it for the most part. But we did have a lot of people donate flowers, and Mr. Algu donated the bark mulch for the park 2 years in a row. So that was a good chunk of change. But that's kind of it. We're going to start shortly here if it stops snowing. We'll get started on the flower beds and whatnot. So it's up to you guys if you would formally name the park. I don't know if you're ready to do so, or if there's paperwork that has to be done. Put it to a vote and...
Do either of you see a problem with that? No? All right.
I have a question.
Good.
For North Brookfield Memorial Park, do you foresee monuments or plaques to famous North Brookfield residents from years past or anything like that?
Just myself. I'm going to put a bronze statue in the front.
You?
Yeah. I'd like to if...
Well, you are
this
famous.
No, there's nothing. It's pretty much full now. I mean, you could put a couple more benches. We'd have to put papers in or something. But what I'd like to do after it's formally named the memorial park, I'd like to put a plaque. Have a plaque made. We have 3 plaques on one side of the bricks where the sign is. I'd like to put a plaque there that says it's the memorial park with the date that it was actually built.
So who do we memorialize?
It's a memorial park. The people that built it, donated to it, bought the benches and picnic tables, the Christmas tree. Tara Hayes donated the Christmas tree in memory of her son. Her son who passed away years ago. So it is memorializing, gosh, probably 30 people and their families. If you want to do something there, we could put something with a plaque with your name on it, in memory of Ralph Kay and his family.
That's not what I was getting at.
Well, I don't know. You know.
So did he answer your question?
I guess.
There won't be a bronze statue of me, I'm sorry.
It just seems that we should be memorializing more than a couple of local, current people. If it's going to be a memorial park, in my mind, the idea is to recognize.
You're welcome to donate
famous
a
people.
plaque with somebody's name on it, a memorial album. That's basically what it is people donating the plaques.
All right. Is there a motion?
I will make a motion to,
Is there any type of a vetting process to memorializing anybody that, or is it just anybody that donates something with a name on it?
I think I'm going to get to that
Okay.
after we get to this part, because there's a piece of this that I think we need to cover too, but it has nothing to do with the name. I will make a motion to name the address of that?
It was 188 on the deed.
188 North Main.
Yes.
I will make a motion to name the site on 188 North Main Street, North Brookfield, as the North Brookfield Memorial Park.
All right. Discussion? All right. All in favor? Aye.
I do have a question, and I think that, so there's kind of 2 parts of this. And I've looked around a little bit, but I haven't found any records where the town accepted the benches as a donation. And I find that is a common element to these, like along the rail trail.
As we were building it,
Yeah.
I asked for donations. Every select meeting afterwards, I would take 2 minutes that I would always get from you guys.
Yeah.
And I would thank the people for donating their, whatever they donated. It should be in all the minutes, you can watch the movies.
Yeah,
So those benches were accepted in the selectmen's meetings afterwards.
Yeah, but
They didn't have a formal acceptance.
No, I'm not.
Well, I don't know what you're asking.
I'm not trying to give you a hard time. I just want to make sure we dot the i's and cross the t's. Anything that's donated to the town needs to be, the board needs to vote to accept the donation, okay? And the piece of that is that it now makes that bench town property, right? It makes the bench town property, it makes the plaques town property. And you know, any research that I did, that's a kind of a core element of the plaques and the benches. And like I said, I didn't see any record of officially accepting those donations. And I guess my point is, if we hadn't officially accepted donations, that's probably something we need to take care of. Is that?
Sure.
Okay. And so, you know, I know I've seen your records, and I know you've got records from pretty much anybody and everybody that has donated a bench or a plaque. And I guess I would just ask, could the committee provide us with a list of that? And we can just get it done officially in one fell swoop. Sure. And then going forward, I think that answers the question as far as how it's vetted, is that process of accepting that donation. Right? If somebody wants to add something, right, the board would accept that donation to put it on the park, to accept it as town property and place it in the park. Is that?
Sure.
That seem reasonable?
We weren't that formal when I was on board. We didn't follow that process. We took what people gave us, yes, sure. I'll give you whatever paper.
Yeah, John, I'm not trying to give you guys a hard time. I just want to make it official. I just want to make sure it's done right, and that was definitely one thing when I looked around as to, you know, how these things are handled, and they had policies where, you know, the donation would be accepted, and then they basically had kind of a timeline and say, okay, look, if it's a bench, what's the average lifespan of a bench, right? Because eventually you're going to get to the point where, you know, the donation is degraded and kind of falling apart, and at that point, what do you do with it, right? What's the process of dealing with it? Because you can't, you know, something is falling apart, you can't be locked to keeping it there forever. There has to be some kind of recourse or some kind of way to kind of address it. But anyway, so I guess I would ask if the committee could maybe give a list so we can, again, accept the donations, and maybe some kind of loose policy as to, okay, you know, donations taken, and here's how we evaluate the donations. You know, if it's something that's falling apart and needs repaired, okay, we can repair it. But if it's something that's not repairable, right, some way of kind of addressing that concern. Good? Good? Okay.
Should we be approving it before it's actually, in other words, I guess I'm thinking out loud. We're going to memorialize anybody who comes forward with a donation. They want to donate a bench in honor of somebody. And we find out that somebody maybe shouldn't be memorialized for whatever reason. Are we going to be doing that? I'm just asking the question.
Pretty much full, unless the benches and, you know, any donations now would be for flowers or maintenance or bark mulch or repairs to the blocks. The benches that are there, my frog down in it was Arkansas, and they said forever benches. So I'm not going to live forever, but hopefully when forever comes, they'll still be there. They're made of recycled materials, and they're set on their thing forever. But I can give you all that paperwork from them. So it was made in USA.
Right.
Yeah. A question.
Sheila.
So in his statement, he asked about a budget, and if he's looking for 2027 he's asking you guys, someone needs to do something because the finance committee is currently looking at the budget and making cuts. So there'll need to be a formal request put in soon.
Thank you.
I just had a question about donations. Those would have to go into a gift account, correct? If they're financial donations, do we have a gift account for a park?
I'll have to set up a separate one because it's in with another one and it just doesn't work well that way.
I just wanted to make sure.
There should still be money in there. I'm sorry.
All right.
Is there? There should still be I don't know how Sheila had it set up, but a donation fund for the little park.
Right, there's about $75 in there right now.
Yep. So is that still active if somebody wants to donate to that?
Yeah, but like they said, if you got a list of donations, you'd have to bring it forth to them and then turn it over to the little, the little park. I'm gonna make it separate. I'm gonna make a little park gift account so that it's not intervened with the selectmen gift that it was.
Okay.
So that it will be specific to that.
And after this, it'll be the memorial park.
Well, yeah, I don't get that technical.
Okay.
Face on the corner.
All right.
Am I allowed to ask a question? Is there any legality for changing it to a memorial park than a regular park, or just a name?
I don't think so. Just the name.
Okay.
Anything else? You good?
Naming it's one thing, classifying it makes it, I did see a lot of,
Yeah.
as far as like cemeteries and I think here we're naming it. That's essentially what we're doing.
So do you guys have to accept these two things that I wrote? Or is that?
Well, we named the park.
Yeah.
So this mission statement, is that more like minutes from your meeting, or is it?
History.
No, just.
No, it's two separate things. And
It's more of what the park was about,
All right.
how it was made and what it
All
was
right.
about.
I will entertain a motion to accept the mission statement and report from the Memorial Park Committee.
So,
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right.
Did you vote on naming it also?
Yeah, we did that. That was a long time ago.
I missed that. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. All right. New business. We have highway here. We have Justin Stearns looking to be hired by the highway department. I will entertain a motion to hire Justin Stearns for the driver laborer position.
So moved.
Second.
All right, discussion.
Are you Justin? Yes, sir.
All right. So what makes you want to do that?
Looking to get closer to home and providing community, service to the community.
All right. And Randy recommends hiring you, so you got any questions?
No.
All right.
What licenses do you have?
I'm getting my reapplying for my hoisting license, and my CDL will be within the next 6 to 9 months.
Okay.
All right. You want to just tell us a little bit about yourself real quick?
Justin Stearns, come from a family of butchers. My Stearns dressed meats in Charlton. I'm a jack of all trades, master of very few. There's not much I won't attempt to do. You ask me, I'll be there and I'll try my best. That's all I can give you.
Great. Thank you very much. All right, motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, welcome aboard.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Pamela Ducasse.
Yes.
All right. So Pamela Ducasse is applying for the collector clerk position. She's been recommended by Kim Bent. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I was born and raised in this town. My family moved to East Brookfield in the early 80s, and then I moved back when I remarried 2 years ago. So I'm back in North Brookfield, and in the meantime, I've held a variety of different office jobs, and I've worked with some very confidential type information that I've had to keep so, and stressful situations and so forth. So I think I'd be able to help him in the office, help her get caught up, and then help things go smoothly going forward.
Great. I will entertain a motion to appoint Pamela Ducasse as the collector clerk.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
I'm familiar with Pam. When she says under stress, she was under stress. She did a great job. She'll be awesome here.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Welcome aboard.
Thank you very much.
All right. We have a couple donations. All right. That's you, Pete, right? All right. What do you got?
North Brookfield Ambulance Service is donating an AED to the town in hopes that it's moved over to the fire department in case the ambulance is out of town, and they'll have a working AED on additional fire trucks.
All right.
Hopefully, we never have to use it.
Great. I will entertain a motion to accept the AED donation from Emergency Medical Services.
So moved.
All right. Discussion? No?
Not needed.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, Pete.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Pete.
All right. The next thing we have is a donation from the North Brookfield Railroad Corporation to the town of North Brookfield. The Kubota tractor that the Railroad Corporation has, they are donating it to the town. I'll entertain a motion to accept that donation.
So moved.
All right. Discussion?
No. Aye.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Next thing, water commissioners. We have their rules and regulations proposals. Ralph, do you want to read the first one? Please.
This? Just this?
No, it's in the, where the letter is.
Oh. Sorry.
That's okay. That's one.
That's it?
Yep, and then one in the back.
Okay, sorry about that.
No problem.
Rules and regulations proposal. This proposal is to amend certain rules and regulations as described below and to take effect immediately following proper approval. If this proposal is accepted and approved, the next course of action would be to amend the fee schedule of the North Brookfield Water Department rules and regulations to include the fee of $70 for cross-connection / backflow inspections and the fee of $50 for final water sewer reads. Respectfully, Tim Mason, Chairman, Board of Water Commissioners.
Thank you, Ralph. I'll read the next one. This proposal is to amend certain rules and regulations as described below and to take effect immediately following proper approval. If this proposal is accepted and approved, the next course of action would be to amend Chapter 9, Water Billing Information Number 1 of the North Brookfield Water Department rules and regulations to read as follows. Number 1, water bills will be issued quarterly based on the previous 3 months' water usage. And that replaces the biannual language. I'll entertain a motion to accept the bylaw changes for the water department.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, do we know what the... Are they charging now for cross-connection and backflow inspection?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do we know what that fee is?
Jill, do you know off the top of your head?
Yes, but I can't think of it. It's, like, it's $60, I believe.
Okay, so they went up $10.
$10.
Okay.
All right. Right, we made a motion and seconded, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. We have one more thing to read here. We have a resignation from Thomas Bissett. It says, "Dear Board of Selectmen, please accept this letter as my resignation as a member of the Board of Engineers and interim Deputy Chief, North Brookfield Fire Department, effective April 1st, 2026. For the last 19 years, the North Brookfield Fire Department has played an important role in my life. The training and skills I developed as a member laid the foundation for my career, and I genuinely believe I would not be where I am now without this department. I wish to express my appreciation to the Select Board for granting me the opportunity to contribute to the department's leadership during the recent period of transition. I would also like to extend my gratitude to the members of the North Brookfield Fire Department for their ongoing support throughout the years. The professionalism and commitment to community service consistently demonstrated by this dedicated team distinguish them among call departments in the region. As I transition from my position with the North Brookfield Fire Department, I remain committed to supporting the town and the remaining Board of Engineers in any way that may be beneficial. Sincerely, Thomas A. Bissett." I will entertain a motion to accept Tom Bissett's resignation.
So moved.
Second.
All right, discussion?
I wish him the best on his
New career?
new career.
All in
Thank
favor?
him for his-
Thank him for his service.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Tom. All right, next we have a Chapter 90 Funds and Highway Operations discussion and PowerPoint, right?
Yes, sir. Keeps me on point.
All right, I'm going to get out of the way then, since you're going to do it on the screen, the big screen. Wake up!
I'm trying my best.
There we go.
It's coming.
That's why he's the chief.
Yeah. Yeah, because my
Technology.
glowing technological advancements here.
Oh, we let it snooze too long.
Yeah.
No sleep.
I don't know what you did, but it was up there before.
Yeah, it's just sometimes it goes to sleep.
Oh, me too. Okay with that?
No.
We have it.
We're on camera.
He was up there. Single click or double? There you go. There you go. It sounds good.
There we go. That's it.
Thank you, sir. All right. So, Chapter 90 tends to be a subject that gets talked about a lot, and I can say from my own experience that I didn't really have an understanding of how it worked, and some of it's still, well, I'm not going to say I'm anywhere near Kim's level of expertise, but I've learned a few things, and I kind of wanted to take a little bit of time tonight to talk about it, because it's, for our community, Chapter 90 is huge. The thing that people need to keep in mind is that our budgets for town departments, highway department, does not include any money towards paving. We don't have money for paving as part of our property taxes. The budget for highway is an operational budget. So for us, Chapter 90 is a lifeline to keep our roads and infrastructure going. And the thing that people, it's important to understand how it works. Chapter 90, and I'm gonna. It runs kind of like a grant, and I'm gonna look at you, Sheila, and you can bat me upside the head if I go too far off the reservation here. The state doesn't just hand us money. That's not the way it works. The state makes a determination as to how much money they'll allocate to us. And that money is based on, I'm going to need your help, Kim, a little bit, miles of roads.
Yes.
Population, and employment.
Yes.
Okay. So those three variables kind of factor into this equation as to how much money is made available to us.
Correct.
And there's some additional funds. There is the fair share program that was legislation that was passed in 2022, 2023, and we've seen a little bit of money from that.
A little bit of extra money.
A little bit of extra money. But by and large, it's that Chapter 90 allocation that really kind of gets us by. And so what Chapter 90 money is for our road infrastructure. We can use that money directly for paving, road work. We can use that money for engineering of road sidewalks. We can use that money for equipment to help maintain our roads and infrastructure. And we've certainly used it for all of that. The process, and I took this directly from Mass DOT section on the internet for this, is basically we submit a project request, and we're putting together basically a scope, an estimate, an environmental punch list, and that has been Kim's kind of mission through this, and she's done a darn good job with that. So she puts a package together and submits it. We identify procurement and pre-qualification requirements, putting the projects out to bid. Basically getting how many? At least three?
Three lowest bidders.
Three lowest bidders. We submit that
To the pre-qual office.
And based on that, they decide, okay,
They give us a go-ahead.
they'll approve it. So once we get the scope and the work approved, then the work starts. Contractors, engineers, what be it. And when the work is done, well, as the work is going, the contractors turn their invoices in. The town uses its own funds to pay the invoices, and we get reimbursed. So, as you can imagine, the state has some oversight of this, and they approve it. So they approve it, they approve the scope, they approve who you're going with, they approve the project, they say go ahead, we do the work, we get the invoices, we pay the invoices, and then we submit for reimbursement. Okay, and at that point, I'm sure there's some kind of approval process that says, yep, you did it right, you're good, we pay you. And the town's illustrious accountant works her magic to make sure that we free up funds to cover these invoices until we get reimbursed. But the thing to keep in mind is that this is not just money that we're handed. This is very much like a grant process where there's oversight over what we do with the money from beginning to end. It's not some check that Uncle Sam writes us and we squirrel it away somewhere, or we have the freedom to do whatever we want. There is strict controls on this money. Okay. So with that, what's it cost to do a road? Now, I've sat down with Randy, our highway superintendent, and Kim, and we have looked at our most recent work that we've done in 2025. And we've come up with some pretty good estimates. Reclamation per mile, and that I'm going to use your wording, Randy, is essentially they come in and rototill the old pavement up, use it as a base, and put a base coat over it. And that process is $33,000 approximately per mile. Okay. Now, paving is a two-step process. The first, there is a base coat of 2 inches of asphalt. That goes down, and that is a more coarse mix. And that coarse mix goes down, and you have to wait a certain amount of time, 1 year at least, before you need to come back and do a top coat. You got to correct me if I go off. Okay. Okay. So we go in, we pave it, and it's a rough coat. Well, in order for that pavement to last, we have to come back and do a top coat. So that base coat costs us on average about $107,000 per mile is what the bids that last year that we awarded. The top coat is about 1.5 inches of asphalt. That is a finer asphalt, and that's about $87,000. Okay, so the thing to keep in mind is if you're replacing an older road, comes about $227,000 per mile. Okay? Now that's excluding any kind of drainage work that needs to be done, anything kind of funky. And to keep in mind that North Brookfield, absolutely, I wouldn't even call it. I can't call it an aging infrastructure. I can't even call it really a crumbling infrastructure. A lot of it is just crumbled. There's not much left to it. So, when you bear that in mind, at $227,000, I would argue that by the time you get going, you're probably upwards about $250,000 a mile, just to use round numbers. Okay, so if we accept that as $250,000 a mile, okay. There are 84 miles in North Brookfield. Okay, now I've seen estimates on how long a paved road should last. And I've seen estimates for New England between 15 and 25 years. Would you agree with that, Mr. Superintendent?
I don't think they last that long.
Okay. For sake of argument, let's say they last 20 years. Just humor me. Okay. So, Kim, on average, the last couple years, we've gotten $520,000 in Chapter 90 money a year. Okay? So, and keep in mind, you know, I'm excluding engineering that we've paid with Chapter 90 money for like the sidewalk projects here in town, money that we've paid in the past to buy equipment. I'm just talking, if we just use this money strictly for roads, okay? You know, at 500, say we say...
It's 2 miles.
2 miles. Yep. Right. So if we have 84 miles of road,
That's 40 years.
40 years. Okay? So, rough numbers, what does that equal?
Unpaved roads.
Unhappiness.
That's true.
No one in North Brookfield will ever be happy with our road system. It doesn't, you know, we can have our opinions, but the numbers spell it out. 40 years. Now, keeping in mind, we get grants for major improvements, be it bridges, be it downtown, things that North Brookfield does need. And a lot of times, we don't have that extra money in our budget or free cash or anywhere. Okay, and we are kind of stuck with going to that Chapter 90 money and using that to get those engineering charges paid. So, you know, you know, I think I heard a wise woman say we have champagne taste with a beer budget, and here we are. So we can all agree that we're never all going to have nice new roads. Okay. So if we look at what we've done in the past, I looked at the past 5 years of what we've used Chapter 90 money for, because I think we don't really I don't think we talk about that enough, and I'd like to see that change. I'd like to see us talk about what we're getting, what the plan is, what we're doing, so that way it's not a mystery. So if I run through the last 5 years, and you know, starting in 2021, we ended up doing a reclamation of Bullard Road and resurfacing of North Street. Make sense? Anybody questions? 2022, we used some of that money for drainage on North Street, and we used that money for reclamation on various streets. In 2022, Kim, do you have an idea of what those streets might have been?
In 2022,
Yes, ma'am.
I have Town Farm Road as the only thing that's missing for 2022.
Okay. I might have that. Okay, as far as the various.
Right.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. 2023, we did some chip sealing of roads, which my understanding isn't the greatest, but it's certainly cheaper than paving. And we did a reclamation of Barnes Road. Okay. 2024, we did nothing. We did nothing at all. We did no paving. We did no reclamation. Not a darn thing. Not a darn thing. So that money that was allocated to us in 2024, if you don't use it, it rolls over into the next year. Yes, Ms. Kim?
Yes.
Okay. So we make some changes, one of which is leadership, and get into the next 2025 paving season. And we do a little bit more. Actually, we do a lot more than 2024. We do reclamation and resurfacing the base coat of Brickyard Road, Donovan Road, Fuller Hill Road, Town Farm Road for slightly over $436,000. We use some of that money to help cover the complete street engineering charges. We use some of that money for reclamation of Hines Bridge Road, Stoddard Road, Walker Road. We use some of that money for doing the top coat of Smith Hanson Road and Tucker Road, which, keep in mind, we base coated those roads in 2017. Right? So I know there was talk about why we're repaving these roads, but keep in mind, in 2017 we did a base coat and then never went back. So a decision had to be made. Are we going to allow those roads to fall apart, or we're going to do what needs to be done and do a top coat? Okay? So we've spent $242,000 on top coating those two roads, which, you know, if you look back from 2025 to 2024 to 2023 to 2022 to 2021, okay, this is what we've done in front of you, with no opinions, with no talking, with no heard it on the street. This, okay, this is what the state approved for work, this is the work we did, and this is the work that we submitted for reimbursement. Okay? Thank you, Mr. Barnes. Thank you, Kim. Thank you. Now, I'm going to go back to what we talked about a little earlier. At $524,000 in state funds a year, with 84 miles of road, with nothing at all in our yearly budgets to pay for paving, our roads will never look like Boston, never look like a suburb of Boston. They will continue to crumble. This is a reality that we have to face unless the state is going to do something different. Now, the fair share in 2024, we got an extra $191,000, and that's thanks to the millionaires. But that's not a guaranteed thing. That 191 was a one-off. So, you know, again, North Brookfield is a poor town. We do what we can with what we have. We're a farming community, old farming community. That's how it's worked, and that's how it continues to work. Thank you.
All right. Any questions? Okay, well, that was easy.
No, I'm not going to make it.
All right. Okay, public comment period.
Sewer letter, did you want to address?
Oh, right.
It was in the back. It was just added, I apologize.
All right. So, Eric, do you want to explain it?
In front of you guys, there's a letter of support that I drafted
on behalf of the Board of Selectmen to get the approval to go ahead and reapply for federal grant money to rehabilitate the secondary clarifiers down at the wastewater treatment plant. We applied last year through what they call the congressionally direct spending, so it's just a program that directs federal funds under certain accounts. So last year we applied under the USDA Rural Development, and we were not approved, so we're looking to take another crack at it this year, and we're going to apply under a different account this time, which is called the EPA State and Tribal Assistance Grant. So we're hoping, this one's a little more directed towards drinking water and wastewater infrastructure projects. So we're really hoping that we have some good luck with this. There is a 20% local cost share for this project, which we've already discussed. That's no different than what we applied for last year. Yeah, so there's, like I said, there's a letter there of support. I just need a signature if you guys approve it. And that's one of the requirements for the application.
In the okay, and what are we seeing? The value.
So I truthfully haven't gone out and asked for quotes. It's kind of a big job to do. But we did that last year, and they came in at 1.5 to 2 million. That certainly could have gone up with inflation, but within that, Jamie, that was a total rehabilitation, replacing the main drives, like all the moving mechanisms, and then structural and concrete rehabilitation. Typically with these grants, from what I understand, you apply for a high value and you typically get knocked down. So if we apply for 2, we might get, it seems like 1 million seems to be the average. So even with that, we can still replace the mechanical portion of it. That's really what's falling apart. We can live with deteriorated concrete, but you can't live without the mechanical portion of it. So, I mean, we can have a discussion down the line where if they do approve $1 million, do we want to, and I don't even know if this is possible, I haven't discussed this with Sheila, but can we go out for a loan for the other 1 million portion of it? Yeah, I don't know if that's a possibility. But, like I said, right now I'm just trying to aggressively pursue any grant funding we can, because eventually we will have to bite the bullet if we don't have any luck with the grant and do something.
Gotcha.
Eric, for the purposes of whoever may be watching, can you talk about the clarifiers and how important this is?
Sure. So the secondary clarifier is the circular tanks that some of you may or may not have seen or be familiar with. Basically what those do is they reduce the velocity of the liquid as it flows through the treatment process. And by reducing the velocity, you allow the solids, which are the bacteria that do the treatment, they settle to the bottom of the clarifiers, and the clear liquid, which is treated at that point, can flow, over the weir and down to the next process. So it's really a liquid to solid separation process. They're very vital. It's a very vital piece of equipment or component of the process. Without that, you really don't have treatment. North Brookfield has a very tough permit, so because of that, we have to remove things like total suspended solids and total phosphorus, aluminum, copper, and zinc, which a lot of treatment plants don't have to remove that. So that clarifier plays a big role in keeping those solids in the clarifier and preventing them from going out to the river. Because within those solids is all your phosphorus and your aluminum and zinc. Everything's bound up in that bacteria. So let's just say, if you lose a clarifier, if the drive main gear of the drive fails, and you're not able to use that clarifier, then you're looking at permit violations. And that's the last thing we want to do, given that the town spent all this money and was very proactive. You just don't want to be back in a position where you have the EPA, down your throat. And they're relentless. They really don't care what the town's financial situation is. They will come at us pretty hard. So, the clarifier is a very important piece of the process.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. All right. I will entertain a motion to sign the letter from us to the Senator, Senator Warren.
This one's actually going to Ed Markey.
Senator Markey. All right. So I will entertain a motion to send this letter from us to Senator Markey asking for the acceptance of the grant for the clarifiers.
So, second.
Discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I need to fix something. Sorry. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
In my previous discussion, I get so wrapped up in talking about Chapter 90. It's easy to forget the people. Randy Morgan, Highway Superintendent.
I am on something.
Yeah, I know you are. Highway Superintendent Randy Morgan, thank you. And the lady who holds it all together, Kim Court, and takes all the irate messages, swears and all. Thank you.
All right. Now we can do public comment period. Brandon.
I like to have a little fun with numbers myself sometimes, so I was looking at this road situation, and if people really wanted good roads, I figure it costs $2 million a year over 10 years, and $2 million a year on the tax base would be about $1,000 on the average person's tax bill. So just so people have that in mind, like I said, we're on a tight budget, can only do so much. People really want it, and they don't have to go out and vote it. But I can't see town taking on that kind of burden.
Anybody else? Matt.
One thing I heard another town around here does, and this might alleviate some of the calling and yelling at a secretary who's working in the highway department. And I know we're revamping the website right now. Has there been any thought to adding like a portion on there where you can notify the town of a pothole or of something? So it's right on the website. Maybe it goes to her office, and then she can reach out rather than someone complaining about not getting through or whatever. I mean, electronic nowadays.
I don't know. We are in the process of updating the.
I forget what town around here. So I heard it. One of the other towns does it, and it seems to help. So that way you can identify where the issue is. Like I know the thing on Facebook recently. There was a gentleman up on that really the dirt road. I would have never even bought a house up that way. But there was a reason. I mean, the house was probably. My guess is the person got a good deal on that house because of the road it's on. But things like that, he could have just went online, said, hey, I have a complaint about my road washing away, rather than putting it on Facebook, making it this thing that turns into, something bigger than it really is.
Yeah, well, a lot of fairness to that gentleman. He didn't start on Facebook, but I hear you.
Yeah.
But having the thing, I guess. People aren't always the best with their opinions, and I'll say personally, I didn't know it until I actually started kind of jumping in with these guys, driving the plow truck and driving the sidewalk machine. The thing to keep in mind is, every damn time I've been out on one of those machines, I've had somebody yelling, screaming, and swearing at me, okay? The last time I was on that sidewalk machine, I had to call the officer on duty. Because I had literally somebody having a meltdown on me. So Yeah.
I mean, there's obviously much bigger issues, but that's...
There is, but I like the idea because it wasn't all not long ago where Kim had somebody come in and, a guy coming in, screaming and swearing at her. Yeah.
A lot of school systems, so you don't get all the teachers.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Eric?
I have a question for Randy. So let's say from Hannaford's back, I'm not sure if that's East Brookfield or Gilbert, I know it kind of crosses somewhere there, but because that's a Route 67, a state road, as I understand it, are we not allowed to include that in Chapter 90?
Gilbert Street?
Yes.
That's our street. That's not state. 67 goes
Towards West Brookfield.
Okay.
So we own all the way to the East Brookfield.
Everybody mistakenly calls East Brookfield Road 67.
I thought, yeah.
So take that a step further, that is in our sites right now.
I can't believe something last year.
So on that note, being that we are an agricultural community, can the town essentially repossess a road such as, say, Conmore? There's a lot of farms on it. It is essentially a dirt road. There's no need to pave that road. And then any other agricultural roads that are, say, cut roads to cut down on our 84 miles of paved road, if you will, from the Chapter 90 to maybe boost it.
The 84 miles is every road in town.
Well, exactly. But I'm saying,
And that's the thought I had.
Something like that to help boost our numbers towards
Yeah, as far
the
as
community happy.
Yeah, well, the thing is, it's much easier. We have a grader, right?
Yep.
The dirt road is we can regrade it, which we do. I mean, Mr. Morgan's been doing it twice a year. But you can't do that with a paved road that's falling apart. So I think Randy's kind of trying to manage along those lines. But good point. Good point.
All right. Anybody else? All right. Announcements. The 2026 town elections are scheduled for May 4th. 2026, the following have returned their papers for election. Board of Selectmen, 1 seat, Pete Orsi and John Tripp. Water Commissioner, 1 seat, Richard Kennan and James Archisi. Water Commissioner to fill vacancy for a 2-year term, Donald Gillette. Board of Assessors, Brandon Avery for a 3-year term. Board of Health, Ethan Malad, candidate for re-election. Cemetery Commissioner, Kirk Burnham, candidate for re-election. Library Trustee, 2 seats. Carol Kelly is a candidate for re-election. Planning Board, 5-year term, Karen Huback. Planning Board, 4-year term to fill a vacancy, Sadie Kiley. Housing Authority, 1 seat, Darlene Lavin, candidate for re-election. And Southern Worcester County Regional Vocational District, 1 seat, Donald Gillette, candidate for re-election. The Senior Center will host an Easter luncheon on Wednesday, April 1st at 12 p.m. Please call the center at 508-867-0220 for the full menu and to reserve a seat. And a reminder that dog licenses expire on April 1st. All right, pending and future agenda items. All right, so we do have to, at some point, have a executive session and open up the contract for the police to do the, some language has to be reworded regarding details. So that will be something forthcoming. So, all right. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Special town meeting, you want to announce that or no?
Put that in the meeting minutes.
All right. So special town meeting. Date, time? What? I just got back.
Friday, April 17th at 6 p.m. at the North Brookfield Elementary School.
All right, Friday, April 17th, 6 p.m. at the elementary school.
Are you unhappy?
Thank you, Mary Beth. All right, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.